Hi everyone. This video I'm just going to describe quickly the changes that were made to the project. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record them. I wasn't able to work on the project itself in the last few weeks. I recently made a couple of changes. So I worked on the front end, so just a few changes on the front end, and managed to add the Stripe method, payment method. So we implemented that as well. What else? Nothing more. I'm just going to quickly describe what this changes, and then keep going from there, basically. Okay. So we're just gonna access the project. Let's abort that. Something is not correct. So OneDrive desktop. Up. Okay. It's taking too much for it to activate the virtual environment, so there was a typo. That's what happens, which is strange. But when there is a typo, it just creates a new virtual environment. So you have to manually switch to it. Anyways, let's just run the server locally. I'm gonna use Edge. Just gonna do that in incognito, actually. Yeah. Oh, is that incognito? Well, anyway. So, as you can see, there are a few changes to the front end. Well, a few changes, just minor changes. I don't know, I just wanted to make it look different. So there's some color button changes, but that's it, nothing more. I corrected the output, which, you know, the output has to be actual output and not, you know, random words in an easy language. Easy language, for who doesn't know, is a proprietary language that is used for platforms like TradeStation and multi-charts. Anyways, I corrected the output. I made a few minor changes to the input that the user is allowed to type in, and what else? Modify the instruction page, try to be as clear as possible. Demonstration video, just added the button. There's nothing behind it. And this is a future implementation, future functionality that has to be yet implemented, which I think that the idea is using AI, artificial intelligence, to debug the output. So I'm not just gonna let the LLM do all the work, but, you know, it must have, in my opinion, a clear indication, and then debug it if necessary. If it does 100% of the work, I just think the output quality is going to be reduced. It's going to be very, very reduced. So I'm just going to try to keep as the quality as much as possible, and then just debug it if the user needs it. Of course, there's going to be some data behind it in order for the debug functionality to work properly and be as accurate as possible. So that's the idea behind it, but yet it's not yet implemented. What else? Then the payment, so should be payments / subscribe. So that's the page before the checkout. You can see your user, your name, and the checkout then lets you open, redirects you basically to the Stripe platform API, through the API, and then you can just add your whatever and pay. Once you're paid, you get redirected back, and once you get redirected back, of course, a nice, let's call it homepage, or how can you call it, personal info page, where the user can manage their subscriptions or whatever, personal info, whatever that can be. That would be nice. It's not necessary now for an MVP, but maybe in the future that's going to be a definitely nice feature to have. Let me copy this. Run the server again and open a new terminal in the same directory. Do I need to run the, no, I shouldn't need it. Git status. Okay, so no major modification that were not committed. That's it. I'm currently using, by the way, Cursor, which is great in my opinion. Let me move that. Which is great in my opinion, but it wasn't, well, it definitely helped. It definitely helped with some wrappers. Last thing I've used it for is this thing. Where is that? Oh, it's not payments. I think it's here. So I've used it to create this decorator or wrapper. Yeah, anyway. That's actually a wrapper. Yeah. Python wrappers. Wrap. Why isn't this working? I just want to, why is it so hard? Oh, okay. Yeah, anyway, it helped me write it. Definitely helped. But of course you have to redirect it. It doesn't, there was some mistake in the first if condition, and it definitely retrieved this thing correctly. Checkout session record, which if I'm not mistaken is part of the payments model. Yeah, so it definitely retrieved this correctly, but yeah, there were some minor modification that I had to do, but yes, it helps. But let me based on the experience that I had with Cursor in this case, which is great, it definitely helps you compile code. So it helps you write code more quickly. But let's actually try to explain that. So I'm not really a Paint user, but let's use, I don't know. let's use this thing. Let's make it thick. I have no idea how you do that. I think here. Yeah, let's take blue as color. So if we try to, so my idea is the following, talking about LLMs and code generation. If you have a graph, oh, I can actually make this pretty straight. Okay. So if you have a graph, can I, okay. Can I make it thicker? I have no idea. Anyways, if you have a graph, and let's try to represent, so here we have the number. So the idea is that the more you use the generated code, the more it will take to debug code somewhere in the future, if that makes sense. And let's say that this is the number of, I can't even write that. Let's do it like this, number of generate. Say number of times code was generated. Okay, so that's what this, anyways, what the x-axis represents, and the y-axis represents difficulty in debugging difficulty. Let's say debug difficulty. Yeah, let's put it like that. So that it wouldn't be, you know, it would be definitely not a linear growth, but as the more you use the generated code, the more difficult it will be for you to debug it later on. So it will be something like this, and then maybe exponentially grow, if that makes sense. That's the point. So as soon as, you know, let's say that the project is small, you use it, I don't know, 50 times. That's 50 times of, well, relatively small project. But let's say that you use it 50 times. Yes, the difficulty is going to be, I don't know, 1. Okay, whatever. This should be higher. Okay, that is 2. This is 1. Okay, that's the difficulty of it. Let's say you use it 500 times or whatever. The difficulty is going to be much higher. 1, 2, say 3, say 4. Level 4 of difficulty in debugging. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's my idea. Because the more I use it, that just if it's a big project, it's very difficult to go back trying to find what was the missing part, and eventually the LLM will find it difficult to retrieve information, retrieve whatever it has to retrieve. So that's my idea at the moment. It's very useful, but the project has to be small. The bigger it gets, the less useful this LLM for code generation are. Well, that's the idea behind it. I just wanted to describe it using a graph. Okay, going back, I should actually open I have to create unit tests. We'll leave it for later. Just not great, but yeah, I think that this video is just going to be an update about what we have done, the changes that I've done in the last few days, and outlining what we have to work on, which is, like I said, this feature, the LLM debugging feature, and implementing, of course, the customization when it comes to the strategy output. And as the last one, which is less important in my opinion, is going to be the, let's say, the personal user homepage, where you have all your data, info, whatever, payments, and where you can even store your personal strategies. Because if you remember, you can name the strategy. So I don't know, first one, whatever, breakout, minor changes, so you can choose 0 as an input. This is something I changed, whatever, output, and you get the name. So it also gets stored in the database, so each user should have the ability to store the strategies in a personal page, let's say. That would be nice to have, but again, it's secondary. It's just a nice to have. So that's it for now. I think I'm just gonna stop the recording, and from the next video we're gonna implement all of these new changes and all of these new functionalities that we just mentioned. So yeah, that's it for now.